I am the new school health liaison here at the Pima County Health Department. And from here on, I will be the one presenting these school health updates. So we have a really short meeting today. I just would like to go over a couple of announcements, a lot of ones that have been coming up the last couple weeks that I'm sure you're familiar with, as well as go through the latest COVID information. So I'd like to remind you all that on this Saturday, there is a diabetes walk that's hosted by our REACH team at the JFK Park on Mission. And again, that is Saturday from 9 to 12. I'd also like to remind you about the Strengthening Families program, which is the 11-week program starting of January of next year. And you're welcome to register all the way up to January 12th. I would also like to remind you that you can request Narcan to just reach out to school support at pima.gov. That is the email to get a hold of me, as well as Matt, although he will be on leave very soon. And then we'll connect you with the team to get you supplied with Narcan, as well as if you're interested in fentanyl presentations and trainings for Narcan. There's also COVID test kits available for the holidays. And you just have to use the form that is linked in the slides to request them. It's a separate link than the COVID, the PPE request form. So as an update for COVID, the Pima County is experiencing a high rate of community transmission, but the case rate has decreased a little bit since last week. It's 7.5% lower. However, the positivity rate of tests has increased slightly. There has also been a slight increase in the reported percentage of the population ages 5 and older who have received their first booster dose. So that's great news. And the community levels have stayed mostly the same, mostly low. However, Apache County has transitioned into a high community level. Again, these are the metrics used for determining community level and the guidance based on the community level. Transmission has also remained mostly the same, and again, Pima County is considered high community transmission. These are several really helpful resources, COVID resources, as well as monkeypox resources. I was hoping to provide a final monkeypox update during this meeting. However, I think that will come up in the next couple weeks. And again, as always, feel free to reach out to us either by calling our direct schools line or emailing us at schoolsupport@pima.gov. So that is everything that I had to go over. I know an incredibly short meeting today. Are there any questions?
Celine, I do see one question in the chat from Mary asking about how can transmission rate be high while the community level be low? And it is a good question. And worth reviewing. Do you want to tackle it?
Sure. So transmission level is different than community level. Community is how prevalent the cases are. Transmission is new cases. Matt, if you'd like to add anything.
Yeah, so Mary, we've gone over this a couple of times, but it's worth reminding because it can be confusing. And if you go on the CDC website, they do a really good job of breaking down the metrics used to calculate those levels. It comes down to different metrics. So for community levels, they take into account things like hospital beds that are taken, whereas transmission levels really are determined by the case rate and also the test positivity rate. And so here in Pima County, usually it's the test positivity rate that's keeping us in a high transmission. But it's a different set of metrics, and that's why one can be green and one can be red, and they can be different. And so I hope that explains it.
Yeah, excellent question. Thank you for bringing that up. Are there any other questions? Okay, well, since I don't see any other questions, and I know that this was an extremely short meeting, but there's a question.
Good morning, Celine. This is Anissa from EPI. I just wanted to let the schools team know and the schools know that, excuse me, speaking of respiratory, we're going to be putting out some messaging. We've had some requests and some inquiries about messaging for indoor events that are happening, that tend to happen in the winter. And as you mentioned, the COVID cases, the transmission, but we know there's not just COVID floating around. We've got influenza, RSV, obviously, adenovirus, enterovirus, and rhinovirus is pretty rampant as well. Just anecdotally, we want to put out some messaging for guidance. And again, these are just best practices. There's no mandates by any means, but it's just smart things to do to prevent transmission. So I just wanted to throw that out there before we wrapped up.
Thank you so much. And again, if anyone needs any further guidance or resources about this season and upcoming events, feel free to reach out at schoolsupport@pima.gov. So with that, I think I will end this meeting. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.